This channel has been all about drawing people into Africa, predominantly Nigeria, through their cinema. But today I'm going to be talking about leaving Africa, as shown in some movies, both African and non-African films. So do stay tuned. There are some good movie recommendations coming your way. Hello and welcome to Nollywood Fellow, a channel where I talk Nollywood mostly. To begin with, my biggest draw towards foreign cinema is how, despite new settings, new cultures, and sometimes even new languages, they always say something that is very familiar. There's always a human insight, a human instinct that cuts across and that is global in appeal. And one such human instinct is the longing for a better life. It's no surprise that in the developing world, people are always on the lookout to move to greener pastures, to lead a better life. This concept in Nigeria is known as Japa, which actually just means to flee or to leave. It could even mean fleeing a fight. But in the larger scheme of things, that's what this whole concept of migrating or moving out for a better life is known as. If I'm wrong, do let me know in the comments. The 2024 movie named Japa touches upon this in a rather playful manner, where there's this group of friends who center all their discussions around leaving the country, and the protagonist gets stuck in a time loop on the day when he's supposed to move to the US. Another movie, however, that delves deeper into this desire to move abroad for a better life is the 2020 movie Aimofe on Prime Video. Aimofe, which means This Is My Desire, follows the story of an electrician and a hairdresser, both who are looking to Japa. This art house movie paints a beautiful canvas of struggles, circumstances, and compulsions. While many dream of moving abroad in order to lead a better life, some have to in order to stay alive. And Hotel Rwanda tells the harrowing story of the genocide of the Tutsi tribe in Rwanda, and how one man, Paul Rusesabagina, helped his family and over 1,000 refugees flee the atrocities. Now, moving from Africa to the developed world is not always about finding light at the end of the tunnel. There's a dark side to it too, the side of human trafficking. And this has been portrayed in movies like the 2018 Austrian drama Joy, which revolves around a Nigerian sex worker in Vienna, and the 2019 Nollywood drama Oloture, where a journalist goes in as an undercover prostitute to expose human trafficking but ends up getting stuck with the women getting trafficked. The sequel to Oloture came out as a limited series. Here, the protagonist, along with other girls who are being trafficked to Europe, gets attacked in a bus, as orchestrated by one of the gang lords. So Oloture and one friend who somehow managed to survive then decide to complete the journey to Europe on their own. While this series did disappoint me with a runtime shorter than that of a film and its inconclusive ending or inconclusive storyline, all in all, the movie still did a great job in depicting this dangerous journey taken through Benin, Niger, Libya, and then by sea to Italy. Crossing the unforgiving Sahara Desert and facing danger, both natural and man-made, where besides rebel groups and thugs, the women also have to protect themselves from sexual predators. Where Oloture the journey walked, Lo Capitano ran. This Italian production tells the story of two Senegalese cousins who decide to go to Europe. The movie not only dedicates more time to the journey, it also delves deeper into the dangers. The depiction of the harsh desert here is masterful, bordering surreal. On one hand, it is dreamy with mirages, illusions, and hallucinations, and on the other hand, there is this harsh reality of people dropping to their death from moving vehicles and in the scorching sun. And Oloture the journey did touch upon the human dangers too, but here this movie goes further into exploring the sheer greed of people, especially the natives who go to extreme limits to exploit and fleece these destitute sub Saharans on the run. It also depicts modern day slavery and racism in Libya, where a black person can't even go to the hospital because of the color of his skin. I'd like to talk more about this movie. I can go on and on, but this video already seems to be getting pretty long, and I also don't want to give out spoilers. And talking about the Great Escape, the biggest barrier is not land but water, the only exception being where Morocco meets Spain, and I'll come back to that later. And talking about the journey through water, the 2019 French Senegalese Belgian movie Atlantics is a very interesting horror thriller movie where workers at a construction site overnight go to Spain on a boat and meet their end. And what follows is supernatural occurrences back in the hometown. The experience of going illegally by water was, however, better depicted in the 2023 Nollywood blockbuster Blood Vessel. Here, a group of 6 Nigerians are smuggled in the engine compartment where they have to stay for days on without food and water. And the real danger, however, is when they come face to face with Russian gangs at sea. Now, this movie is very similar to and or probably flicked from the 1996 British television movie Deadly Voyage, where 6 Ghanaian stowaways are on their way to America. Now, if you thought land and water are the only ways illegally out, the movie Adu, which was a Spanish production, surprises you with a scene where protagonist Adu and his sister, fleeing elephant poaching gangs in Cameroon, after witnessing their activities, smuggle themselves in an airplane by grabbing onto the plane's tire. Unfortunately, Adu lands up in Senegal, from where he has to make this whole artist journey to Europe all over again. This spectacular movie also shows the flip side, where 3 Spanish policemen, guarding the fence bordering Morocco, which I spoke about earlier, are up against hundreds of refugees. And in the process, one of the refugees falls to his death. And there's an investigation against these 3 policemen who are just doing their job. After going through hell and reaching new shores, what awaits the immigrants or the refugees is not a rosy picture either. 2010 Nollywood movie Anchor Baby threw some light on it. For those who don't know, an anchor baby is a term used for a baby born to non-citizens so that the baby gets citizenship by birth and by extension helps the parents secure citizenship or residency. So in this movie, the illegal migrant husband is caught and deported back to Nigeria, while the pregnant wife is left behind to fend for herself. So when she develops complications during pregnancy, she is unable to get medical help because of lack of money or papers. 2020 British movie His House, which is also one of my favorite horror movies of all time, follows the life of refugees from South Sudan who get released from detention as asylum seekers and are given a weekly allowance and a home to stay in, and supernatural occurrences follow shortly. And that brings me to the end of my list of movies. Now, talking about this dangerous migration and this humanitarian crisis, in the last decade alone, close to 40 million Africans are said to have been displaced, a larger part of whom remain within the continent. And out of those who leave the continent, a larger part move to Europe through this dangerous route that has been showcased in many of these movies. Now, this route or this migration is so dangerous that close to 7,000 people are said to have drowned in the Atlantic Ocean in the last year alone. And according to UNHCR, twice as many die in the Sahara Desert due to vehicle accidents, environmental conditions, dehydration, starvation, violence, and the list goes on. And while so many lives that are lost and endangered end up becoming mere statistics, it is storytelling that actually draws people's attention towards this. So I'd like to thank the filmmakers and everyone who's involved in all these films for using their art and craft for a great cause. Now, I know that there are many more movies that belong to the list. So if you know of any such movies, do drop them in the comments. And that's it for this time. Do like, do share, do subscribe. Till next time, this is me, Nolly Goodfellow, saying bye.